Hello and welcome to today's English lesson. My name is Stuart. In today's lesson, we're looking at words and vocabulary that we use when we talk about work and working in English. Let's go to the intro. Now, as I said, today's lesson is looking at this topic here, work and working, and all of these words and expressions will come in handy should you need to talk about this topic in your life. Maybe you are working, maybe every day you go to work, you have a job, you have a profession, you have an occupation, and you go to work. Maybe you are studying at the moment and going to work in the future. Maybe you're going to go to another country to work, an English-speaking country, and you'll need to know some of these words, if not all of these words, in order to express yourself fluently in English. Now, the first words we're looking at are these ones here: job, employed, occupation, and career. And your job is the thing that you get paid for, okay? You go to work in a job. The job is the thing that you get paid for. So people have different jobs: doctors, lawyers, people that work in shops, people that work in restaurants. That is their job, okay? They are employed by somebody. That is their occupation. Their occupation is also what they get paid to do. He's a doctor. His occupation is a doctor. And maybe you have a career. Now, there's a difference between having a career and a job. A career is normally something that you can develop over a long period of time. You can start off at the bottom in a company, for example, and work your way to the top, or work your way up through the ranks of the company. That is your career. If you work in a job, maybe you don't have a career. You can be in the same position your whole life. If you work as a waiter, for example, there's not really a chance of being promoted, so it's not really a career, it's a job, okay? So there's a little bit of a difference between the two. So job, you are employed, it is your occupation, and maybe you have a career as an engineer. Maybe you have a career as an engineer, okay? That is the work that you do, all right? Your job or the work that you do. Now, you can be at work, meaning that you're physically at your place of work, okay? You are at work. Or you can be in work, which means that you have a job. So if you say that I am in work at the moment, it means that I have a job. I'm getting paid to do something. And if I am at work, I'm just physically at my place of work. So here in my office, I am at work at the moment, okay? You can work full-time or you can work part-time. Full-time normally means that you work around 40 hours per week. Some countries more, some countries less, but around 40, okay? In most modern countries, let's say, you work around 40 hours if you're full-time. And if you're part-time, it means that you work maybe half of those 40 hours. Maybe you work 20, maybe you work 25, maybe you even work 18 hours per week, but you work on a part-time basis. A lot of people in Australia, where I'm from, when they study at university, they work part-time. They have a part-time job. Or maybe you decide to have a family and you want to look after the children and you try to balance your family life with your work life, so you can also have a part-time job. Work experience is something that you do in order to practice your skills, okay? You get work experience. Maybe you can work in a company for a couple of weeks, a couple of months, and you get experience that will help you get another job in the future, okay? That's your work experience. You can be on work experience at a company. Like I said, for a month, couple of weeks, however long the experience is for, the work experience program. We can also say that people are underworked or overworked. If you're underworked, it means that you're not working to your full potential. You're underworked. And if you're overworked, it means that you're working too much. You're working more than you think that you should be working. You're overworked. I'm really overworked at the moment. My boss is a slave driver. I'm really overworked at the moment. Okay, so underworked and overworked. You could also be a hard worker. If you're somebody that works hard, you're a hard worker. I consider myself to be a reasonably hard worker. There are some people that work more than me, some people work less than me, but in general, I consider myself to be a hard worker. I get up every day and I do my 8 or 9 hours every day. Hard worker. If you're not a hard worker, and many people out there are not hard workers, you could be called a slacker. Or as we say in Australia, we call people that don't work hard, we call them bludgers, okay? He's a bludger, he's bludging at the moment. So he's a slacker or he's a bludger. We can use both of those words in Australia, but this one is more or less unique to Australia here, bludger. Workaholic. Workaholic is somebody that works a lot of hours, somebody who dedicates a lot of their life to work, okay? Maybe they spend many hours per day at the office. Maybe they're supposed to work from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock in the afternoon, but they continue to work because they love their job. They can be called workaholics, okay? Similar to an alcoholic, somebody that drinks too much alcohol. If you work too hard, people can call you a workaholic, okay? I don't consider myself to be a workaholic. I like to work, I like to do things and keep busy, but I'm not a workaholic. We all know people that are workaholics, but I don't consider myself to be one. Now these words here, workflow, workload, workplace, workspace, and work week. Now the workflow are the stages or the process of your work, okay? It's the stages or the processes, it's the workflow from the beginning to the end. So if you're working on a project, if you're making something, developing something, the workflow. From the beginning to the end, it's the stages. It's the workflow of the project, for example. Again, similar is your workload. It's the amount of work that you have. Your workload. Some people have a heavy workload, some people have a light workload. Some people work more than others, therefore they have a bigger workload. Your workplace is the place that you work, okay? Your workplace. It can be either the building that you work in or your more smaller space, maybe your office or your desk, which can also be called your workspace. So your desk could be your workspace. So the workplace, the place that you work, and your workspace, the space that you work in, okay? And your work week, again, we mentioned before that normally a work week or a working week is around 40 hours, 38, 40, 42. Some countries it's less. I know in France, I think they work only 35 hours a week. So the work week, a 30-hour work week, a 40-hour work week, okay? The amount of hours that you work in your week. Now here are some idioms that we use to talk about working, okay? Normally we use them to talk about people that work hard or when you work hard. You can use these expressions here. So you can say, for example, to work like a dog. He works like a dog. He works hard. He sweats. He works hard every day. He works like a dog. You can work until you drop. You can work until you drop, meaning that you work until you're so physically tired that you just, boom, that you drop, okay? Not dead. Okay, but you drop because you're tired. You work until you drop. You can work your fingers to the bone, meaning that you also work very hard. You work your fingers to the bone, okay? Work your fingers to the bone. I've been working my fingers to the bone, okay? I've been working very hard lately. And to work your guts out. Guts are in your stomach. You work your guts out. Again, meaning that you work very hard. I've been working my guts off over the last couple of weeks to get these videos done, working my guts out. And to work your ass off is another expression that we can use when you work really, really hard. You work your ass off. He's been working his ass off over the last couple of weeks because he wants to get a promotion. So he's been working his ass off. So all of these expressions we can use in English when we talk about work and working. Now, thank you very much for watching the lesson. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the section below. Remember to give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. Share it, please, with your friends on social media. I'll see you in the next English lesson. Have a good day. Bye.